channels except angel speakers. That's what's going on. Okay, now we know. So now we're on YouTube. We're on all the channels that we normally stream on, Enlightened World Network. I'm so glad you came in and said something, Leo. Or we would have just been on one channel this morning and we would have missed our YouTube people that like to find us on there. Morning, Charlie. Right, Kathy Hand. It's just when we step away and observe, then we see this craziness and this thing that we call linear time. It's just, it goes just like that. And I really think that for us to acknowledge that and to watch that happening is kind of like when the angels say, "You're only here for a minute." And seriously, when you think about it, these lives that we're living, we're only here for a minute. And it makes us take stock of what am I doing? What am I doing with my time? How am I allowing myself to show up in the world? And, I was listening last night to someone that I hadn't heard before, but I loved what was being said. And so I want to share a little bit of that with you. But let me say hello to our Hope Wellington Marshall. Yeah, it's on YouTube now. There you go, Leo. You jumped over to YouTube. Thank you for showing me and letting me know that I needed to do something. And isn't it awesome how we can help each other in that way? We can say, hey, there's something that you need to pay attention to, right? Because I totally forgot that I needed to change the channels back and put them back on. So I heard someone last night talking about a person that he had admired and that had gotten so much done. And what he said was, it wasn't that he worked the most or more than other people or most people do. It wasn't that he worked the most. It was that he wasted the least. And I thought about that and I thought, wow, what am I doing with my minute? Right? What am I doing with this minute that I'm here on earth? Because, yeah, I do a lot. I do. I admit it. I'm constantly going and I get very little sleep. But this is something for us all to look at. What am I doing with my minute? What am I doing? Am I wasting a lot of it? Am I scrolling on social media? Am I just flaking out and not paying attention when Spirit's talking to me? Is there something that I can be more involved in that's going to make an impact besides the things that I'm wasting time with? And I'll put it in that way. You're not really wasting time, but maybe not being as productive with the time that we have. And it really made me stop and think. And I'm like, okay, I know that there are some time wasters in my life. I know that my time isn't always doing what this mission is all about. So where is it that I need to look and see what am I doing during those moments, during those times? And something like spending quality time with family, that's not a time waster at all. But it's like there are moments when, yeah, I could be doing something and I'm just maybe flaking out instead or doing something that's not productive. So anyway, that was my rabbit hole I went down last night. I wanted to share that with you. I love that observation that this person had made. It wasn't that his friend had done the most, but he utilized his time in a way that showed what was important. And I guess that's kind of where it led me. Like, where am I utilizing my time that I could be doing something more impactful than what I'm doing? All right, we have peeps, Sally and Tony. Good morning. And asking for prayers for a young friend who is pregnant for the first time and just lost her mom. She passed away last Sunday after just finding her true soulmate and spending the last year of her life in total bliss and happiness. Oh, sweet one. That's not the first story I have heard like that recently, to be honest. There's, I don't know, I don't understand it. We're not going to understand everything in life. I've come to accept that, but it doesn't make it any easier, does it? And sometimes we just say, it doesn't seem fair. And, you know, life is not fair. We have to accept that there's a divine plan, and there's more to this life than what we see. So, yes, lifting up your friend, and thank you, Sally, for bringing that to us today on our prayer day. Good morning, Blue Jean. You've learned that today that sometimes you need apple pie with your coffee in the morning. Well, yes. Or my favorite, cherry pie. And cherry pie and coffee in the morning is perfectly okay. There's nothing wrong with pie and coffee. And Sally says, guess what I've been saying? It, um, it's not fair. Okay, I'm trying to put this together, Sally, the way it's there, and see what the message is. All right. I'll just read it like it is, because I'm not sure how that's supposed to flow. I've been saying it doesn't, it's not fair, isn't here, but I get it, and at least she got to know what that looks like, and that I'm grateful for. Yeah, sometimes we don't see the big picture. We don't see all that person is aware of or knows, or that God is the one that has that bigger divine plan that we may not be aware of. So yeah, I get it. Okay, it just doesn't seem fair at all that it could happen like this, but at least she got to know the most amazing love and feeling. Yeah, absolutely. Good morning, Darlene. Thank you for being here. And Blue said it doesn't make it easier for us. Thank goodness they did find each other, and that empty spot was filled with the knowledge of true love in a soulmate. And that's never ending. You know, as humans, we look at it like, oh, they just had that minute together. But if they're true soulmates, and if they found each other and found that connection, there's nothing that will stop that. It's everlasting, and that's what love is. I've spoken with so many that are out of their body now and in the spirit realm, and they always, always share with me, it's all about the love. It really is about the love that you take when you're accumulating all of your experiences in a lifetime. We seem to focus on the the, ex- the experiences that were not so pleasant, our lessons, our sandpaper people, right? We focus on that instead of, oh, where's that love? Where's that amazing energy of the ones in my life, like this family, that do fulfill us? So, in learning from those that I've interacted with, knowing that love is the one thing that you're going to take, the one thing that's everlasting, why wouldn't we focus on that? And it really, those experiences just lift those up and cultivate those things that are positive in our life, that help us to make it through a day. Sometimes it's just somebody's smile. Sometimes it's a warm word. Sometimes it's an inspiration that we get when we come here on Cuppa. We had a meeting yesterday, and I'm so excited for all of you because there are P's that are going to step up. They're going to help out while I'm away. And I'll be contacting some more of you that haven't stepped up yet and just ask if you would be willing to help as well. Because if you spread it out, then one person doesn't have to carry that whole weight. We can have a group of people that keep Cuppa alive, keep it going while I'm gone, and keep this same energy, the same format of what we do. It works. It's not broken. So we're going to leave it the way it is. Every morning we'll do check-ins. Every morning we'll do prayer time. Every morning we'll do story time if there's time to do that. Today is prayer day. So normally on prayer day, we don't have story time. But thank God for all of you that say, I will help. I'll keep this alive. I will keep it going. All right, Kathleen came in. Good morning, Kathleen Caputo. And Darlene says, I talk to my dad every day. I also see signs that he is around me. Absolutely. And Kathy says, but doesn't our body and mind need some downtime, even during waking hours, like watching a TV show or playing a game after work? Yeah, there's no judgment. Whatever you feel that's right for you, that's right for you. And yeah, I have the downtime. I have time when I just step away from constantly reaching out and talking on the phone to the P's or to my clients. I do have that time. But what I'm saying is, are are we balancing? Are we looking at um, how our life is flowing? And maybe some of it is out of balance with that downtime, with the time that what I call time wasters. I'm not a TV person. I have a hard time just sitting there and being numb in front of a TV set. So for me, it's like, where am I doing something like that if I'm not in front of a TV? Where are the places that's taking me away from maybe a prayer time or a meditation time that would be more productive for me? So this is not about judging anybody or making anybody feel less than. It's whatever feels right for you and whatever balance you find in your life. That's what I'm talking about. All right. So Kuan Yin says, the Divine Mother's love. If we don't trust our divine connection, we can feel like a lost child, uncertain, insecure, and afraid. Yet when that child knows that the mother is always there, waiting, naturally stepping in when needed, but otherwise trusting in the child's ability to live his own life, then getting lost for a time is just part of the adventure. It's not frightening, it's freeing. And doesn't that go right along with this conversation? You know, it's like we always know that spirit is going to help us once we say, what am I doing? What am I thinking? Let me look at my life and how I'm living it and the things that I'm doing, and ask, do I need to look at time management? Do I need to look at what's happening here as I'm in this body? Okay, we had Lauren come in. Hi, Lauren. Thank you for joining us. And okay, what else we got? Sally said, it is all about the love. It just hurts a lot, as I just found out 10 minutes ago, and I came right here. Yeah, Sally, just focus on the fact that there was that connection, and it is a never-ending connection. There's nothing that can separate us from our loved ones. And as Darlene said, after her dad passed, she's able to connect with him. All right. And coincidentally, it happens to be my mom's third heavenly birthday. I saw that. I saw your post on that on Facebook. So that's kind of stinging a little bit today as I'm allowing myself to open up to the love that I should have for. It's an emotional day. Yeah, don't do the shouldas. Just focus in on that. Any relationship we have, it's a contract that we have with another person. And we decide before we even come here and have this experience, we decide what our lessons are going to be. And sometimes there are people that help us to learn those lessons. Sometimes they are our sandpaper. Sometimes they're our fluff that we flow back on and fall back on when things get really, strange or testy in these bodies. So there's different people for different experiences. Kathy says self-care is necessary if we are to be of good service to others. Absolutely. Yes. All right. So it is prayer time. And thank you, Deirdre, for sharing our daily prayer. Prayers for all humans, for Gaia and all who live on her back, for world peace, attention to human trafficking, support for all families living with addiction, the Coalition of the Willing, our troops, the United States, any traveling P's, prayers for Billy, Paula, and Mila. And thank you for that. And I want to lift up my sister Sheila, who's going through a physical issue right now and having to be on antibiotics for that. So praying that that will clear up and she'll be back to her normal sassy self before too long. And Kathleen, please say extra prayers for Joanne Rice having surgery on Friday when the doc will be breaking her breastbone to remove a mass in her chest. Ouch. We certainly will. Joanne Rice. Let me see if I can put that on our prayer list before I share the list with all of you. And Sally, I did add Ruth Bradford to our list. We're going to lift her up for what she's going through right now. Okay. So anybody else that I need to pay attention to on this prayer list, please let me know what's going on. And we can make that adjustment before I show it up on the screen for you. And Jean, you had an amazing time with your sister, went to a friend's house who also lives here. Oh, Jean, that sounds like a wonderful reunion. I love that. All right, Sally, thank you for the prayers for the lost and the lonely, for those that feel unloved or forgotten, for our troops, may God always keep them safe, for the homeless, may they find their way, for those that live in fear of another, as well as our entire P family. And may you feel the love and grace of each other's lights, and definitely keeping Nora in our prayers for a healing heart for the loss of her mom and for her mom, Marty, feeling of her heart as well as she holds her unborn grandchild before she sends her to her daughter in January. Okay, so Nora, that's who we're putting on the prayer list. Is that right, Sally? Yeah, Kathy, it doesn't have to be Kuan Yin. We can use a message from any of the Ascended Masters. We just like to keep it consistent. But if you have one that you think is a great message for us for the day, then please use that. All right, so let me add Nora, and then I'll bring this prayer list up for everybody to pay attention to as we lift up our loved ones. Okay, it is ready. I've got music going on, so let me stop that. Okay. And it does take it a minute, as you know, to upload so we can look at it. So in that minute, let's go into our hearts to connect so we can let our frequency, our energy be more focused as we look at the names. And if you're holding somebody in your heart that maybe is not on our prayer list, just bring them to mind. Hold them like you would hold a baby, a child, or hug a dear friend, and hold that energy in your heart. This is a long prayer list, so that's why it takes it just a minute to upload. You would think with technology things would happen instantaneously, but sometimes they don't. Okay, here we go. So just remember that each one of these represents a loved one that you have brought to us, and each name is someone that we lift high. We lift them up, up, up to our Creator, the giver of all miracles. Good morning, Grace Isis. All right, so we have Prachetta, Prachir and Goofy, Aunt Mina and Neil, Navritti, Jasmine and her family, Billy Hawkins and all of her family, especially her daughter Paula, Sheila and Kevin. Sheila going through a physical issue right now and praying for the best outcome there. Gary, Cecil and his family, Nola, and Cecil's daughter, Karen. I want to add her in for prayer. She just had a really big surgery that she is recovering from in rehab. Joanne Castrillo and her husband and family, especially that little baby heiress going through a lot right now emotionally. Dolores Cook, LZ, Elaine, Deirdre and Thump, Deirdre's sister Steph and husband Bob, Adrielle, Tia Fernetti, Mickey, Suzanne Millard and her family, Jacob, Marietta and Ed, Leo Harley and his family, Lakshmi, Ken, Jim, Ryan, Josie and her mom, and let's lift up sweet Ricky. I know he's here with us in spirit. Tammy Williams, Meg and Jim Lorio and their family, our Auntie Jean and her husband and family, Mary Lou Burdick and family, Catherine and Michael Kovacs, all of her family and fur babies, Fred, Ross and Good Vibes, Jimmy Wright, Sally and Tony De La Rosa, and all of your extended family, and excited still that your grandson is going to be there for you to wrap your arms around. Stacy Phillips, Kathy and Bob Hand, and the whole family, Christina, Sonia, Paul and Marlene, Joe and his wife, Pat Moss and family, Becky LaFave and Travis, Erica Hoppy and her family, Corinne, Charlie Coons and his family, Hope Wellington Marshall, who I'll get to see. I'm so excited to get to see you really soon. And Zena and the girls and your parents. Carrie Baker, Andrea Gregg and Sparkle, Catherine, Annie Seven and Grayson, and lifting up Annie, getting ready to undergo some surgery in just a few more days. Liz Orsini and her family, Christine Lewis, Gail and Nick Zimmerman, Jennifer and Micah, Oksana and her family, Herb, Caitlin and Aunt Gail, Isabel and Paul and their daughters, Beata and her daughter Juliana, Linda Lemieux, her son and grandchildren and her friend in Sarasota, Stacy and Josh Lord and their family, John, Tatiana, Buster, Wayne, Lindsay, Aunt Inga, Blue Jean and Dave and all the fur babies, including the horses, Dolly and Rain. And then we pray for Chance and Shasta, the horse as well. Noel, Rose Sermon, Gary McCorkle, Brookie and Dylan and Sweet Max and their families. Girardi family, Jeanette and Ernie, Lily Ann in Norway and her family. Kathleen Caputo, lifting Kathleen up for extra prayers today. Baby Wyatt, Baby Heaven, Baby Divine, and their families. Caden, Tinsley Rose, Kat, Candy and Pastor Bruce, Alba, Dottie and Dawn, Grace Isis, your sisters and all your extended family in Kenya, Raymond, Darren Walker, Arthur Thompson, Vicki King, Elaine Armstrong, Marianne, Henrik and Lorraine and John, Jeannie Aguilar and her grandson, Eric, Tammy Fisk and her family, Rochelle Martinez and her mom Rose, Lori, Kelly, Stephen, Catherine, Ruth Anderson and her family, Jeannie's sister Merle, Deb Goldberg and family, Michelle, Crystal and Dean Nobles and family, Laura Hill, Julia Osborne, Sharon Rhea and family, Sherry Gatewood and her brother-in-law, Hanaya Hummingbird, Tammy Hill and her family, Phil B., Lynn Gallagher, Mary Quincoli and her friends and family in Florida, Irene and Eduardo, Eddie Quills, Jose, Michael Murdoch, Jessica, Fidel, Camilla and Nick, Lynn Andriozzi, Frank, Albie, Kenneth, Bobby, Mansi, Kamal, Akil and the Pakistan orphans and the whole country of Pakistan, Yuri, Scott, Mary, Joshua, James, Drake, Alicia Burns, Pam Dite, Kimberly, Ellen, Sue Seekoff and Richard, Dido Clark and Harry, Terry Gilstad, Chiara, Marissa, Claudia, Marianne Pish and family, Cassandra and Danny Gary, Lenny, John Thaddeus Fiore, Kuka Carney and her family, Carol Fisher, Deborah, Walter, Sue and grandchildren, Janie Stamler, Claudel Jackson, Dante, Jerry, Kaylee, Trevor Jordan, Richard Weber, Charlotte Abrahams, Jerry, Michelle Landers and your family, your son and your daughter, Kagan and Wyatt, Barbara Kaufman McGillicuddy, Bradley Capone, Andy, Amanda Summer, Miles and Sarah, Joanne McConnew, Whitney, Jude Dalton, Karen Gibbons and daughter, Julie Kiss and all the Kiss family, Courtney, Ryan, M, Pat, Sophia, Aaron Parker, Angelica Compamons, Peggy, Claire, Carrie Klingon Butcher and her family, Brian Hughes, Pat O'Connor, Yolanda, Sylvie Barnes, Robin Waters Dykes and her mom Jewel, who I think is still doing really well. We haven't had an update in a few days, but I know she was doing well in rehab. Joey, Teri, Solar, and Maya, Leanne, Joanne and Leo, Sam, Matt, Charles and Nita, Yusha, Jen and Norm, Keith, Joe H., Marisol Soto, Deborah, Tyler, Chad Ehlers and Mia, Dick Waters, Milton, Boris, Jacqueline and David, Tomas Diaz, Cameron, Sylvie Barnes and Odd Barnes, Gun Ellen Sundahl, Maria, Lisa Jo Davis, Jordan, Lydia, Benedita, Rebecca, Sonia Kay, Miles, Anjali Baha, Paula Graca, David Brett, Colleen, Dallin Hickson, Richard, Cole, Brandy Cherry and her family, JT, Francis, Shanna, Danielle Riverin and family, Chris and Natika, Elise, Kara, Pam, Christine and Ed, Barbara and Diane, Kim, Catherine DeSanti and her sister Rose, Mary Jane, Carol, Val Meyer, Tasha, Jocelyn, Linda Kraft and family, Eric and John, Darlene, Paul, Liam, Pam, Daniel, Minner, Rebecca, Joe Ketterer, Gabrielle, Ina, Donna, Nancy, Bailey, Jacob, Mary, Kim, Gabby, Don B. and family, the Vega family, Laura, Lisa, Bobby, Elaine, Shiraz, Sharu, Adil, Laura, Evelyn, Beatrice, Amina, all areas where there's still war and fighting going on, and gratitude for the ones who have reached an agreement of peace, all abused individuals and groups, Ashley, Alina, Susanna, Lana, Grace Anna, Kim, Soshana, Stephen, Keith, LP, Adam Holmes, Bob, Christina and Clint, Janine, Heather, Kim, Jennifer, Cassandra Brown Henry, Tim, Jeanette and Eric, Rachel Warren and family, Mark Hunter, Pat, Ainsley Grace and her mom, Kathleen, Betty, Judy, Kelly, Alma Jean, Jim Rashawn and his father, Rebecca, Dana Rados, Darlene and all of the family and fur kids, Patricia, Jennifer Schwab and family who just joined us, Steve Newman and Carol, Janet, Blue's sister Timmy, Margarita Estrada, Donna Sobel and her daughter Joanna, Soma, Christopher, Emerson, Louisa, Patricia, Don Baker and all of his family, Norman and Monica, Richard Scarborough, Richard James, Andre, Latrulia, Kathy's co-workers, Rose, Danica and Annette, Mike, Emmanuel, Lucy's mom, Mary, Fandy and Vanette, Justin, James, Justina, Hans, Sherry Graham, the Wilk family, Ken and Tabitha, Susanna, Kelsey, Aunt Una, Max, Jackie, Jeremiah, Noel and Bob, Vinny, Dylan's Uncle Chris, Linda, Martha, Shad, Joy, Holly Ann, Zita, Beiji, Ali, Bree, Stephen, Tara, Soma, Ben, Pat, Dee Dee, Linda, Julie, Dana and her kitty, Lauren, Alex, Margie, Anne, Rio, Mark, Adam, Alexandria and Lexi, Robin, Jennifer's family, Werner, Terry, Serenity, Keith, Leah, Gina Marie Burrell, Janine, Rihanna and her family, Kathy's brother Paul, Chloe's family, Bob, Ricard, Rhea, Paisley, Yoli, Carrie, Bentley, Elijah, Tony, Susan and family, Vicky, Alyssa, Paula, Carla, Layla, Allie, Linda's sister Mary, Joanne, any areas where there's floods or storms or anything happening that's causing disasters. Arthur Peretti's family, his sister and wife, Nell, Ron Hall, the McKee family, Janine Burns, Mila, Digger, Ruth Bradford, Joanne Rice, and Nora. And if you have others to add to this list, it is an ongoing list, so type it in the comments so that we know to adjust the prayer list that we read every Wednesday. And thank you to all of you who are helping to lift these prayers up, up, higher and higher to our Creator. And we release these prayers that we have laid before you now into your hands, knowing that your love surpasses all understanding. May we find peace in surrender, patience in waiting, and joy in receiving. Teach us to remain steadfast in hope and to look for the signs of your presence in all that unfolds. Thank you, Creator, for the blessings yet to come, the lessons we will learn, and the love that surrounds us always, always, and forever. And please help me say this prayer. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. And where there is sadness, joy. And indeed, we do lift those prayers to our Creator with all of the trust, the faith, the understanding that prayers are answered, miracles happen, and it's all for our best and highest good when we get those miracles and those answered prayers. We might not see the whole thing, the whole picture of how those prayers are answered and what happens, but we don't have to. We just trust that everything we lifted, everything you're holding in your heart is acknowledged. So thank you, Creator, thank you, Divine, and we all say amen, and thank you, we love you. Gail Zimmerman, good morning to you. So glad you came in, and it's time for our thank you, I love yous, as we share that with each other every day, and the music of Leo, as he sings to us about the triple A. Pray that prayer together each week and get into that beautiful energy of gratitude and love. And remember that in our prayers, we don't just bring things that we want to see answered, we bring gratitude. And hold in your heart every day gratitude for the things that are happening that we have prayed for, the miracles we've asked to see, and we see them. So grateful to our Creator for answered prayer. Thank you. I love you. So glad you're here, Mama Hada Bear. We're lifting you up so high. And Charlie, so happy that you're with us today, lifting you up in your family. And thank you. I love you. And Blue, Shad transitioned this morning. Well, I will make that adjustment on the prayer list. And thank you for letting us know. And we've lifted Shad for a bit now. So praying that his soul is now soaring out of that human body. Annie, and we lift you up for what you're getting ready to go through and know that we're all with you while that happens. Leo, Leo, hopefully I get to see you really soon. I'll be leaving here in a few days from my sister. I don't want to leave her, but I know that I've got a date. In 18 days, I will be heading out of the country, so I've got to start making my way to where I will be doing that. And pray for Billy while I'm gone and all the things that she'll be going through. Oh, Brandy, we lifted you up, darling, and thank you for coming in and being here with us. We love you, Brandy. I know, Annie, I'm not sure what's happening with those magnets, but ours hasn't arrived yet, but I'm trusting they will by the time that I have to leave here. I think they will be here. Michelle, so glad you were with us. You know, I did put a post out just a couple of days ago about the class, the workshop that Michelle and I are doing together in January. So please look at that if it's something you're interested in. I know some of you are already signed up for it, and thank you for that. Kathleen, I love your comment. And Gracie, it is an answer. Yeah, we get those answers all the time. Sometimes we don't know that the prayer is what we've asked for. Oh, Kathleen, you got your magnets. Oh, yay. Thank you, Hope Wellington Marshall. So glad that you were able to come in with us today. And I hope I need to reach out to you. The airline has changed my flight a bit, so I will share with you what's going on. I'm hopefully getting in touch with them today. And let's see what else we got. We got some woos. Thank you. And thank you, Brandy, for bringing our attention to anyone in our prayers that's touched by suicide or dementia. Okay, so it's time to get on with this day. I will be back on in an hour with Dr. Ruth Anderson. We do a meditation together on Wednesdays, meditation excavation, where we just see where spirit guides us. So come join us for that. It's a beautiful time together on Wednesdays at 10 o'clock a.m. Aw, thank you, Gail Zimmerman. I'm so glad you were here. We lift you up in prayer every day, and you are on that prayer list, you and your family. Oh, thank you. I appreciate those words. All right, so let's get out of here. I'm going to go get some coffee and get ready to be on with Ruth in an hour for meditation excavation. May you have a beautiful, blessed rest of your day. Aloha and mahalo for being here with us today. Bye for now.